I'm gonna see if our food's here. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh. Hello, chat.
Hey.
Hey. Dun, 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 dun. Oh boy.
Yee howdy.
Yee howdy. Ba-da-ba-ba.
Eh?
I just had a weird pinch in my back. I was like, ah, no biggie.
You don't say.
No. Joel, I swear this wasn't a competition. I know you'll destroy me.
I can't even be the best at being sad.
Come on, give me a little frown. Just a little frown.
Oh,
Is it here, Yam?
I don't like the energy of like little horrible like
Clown creature.
dumpy like horned king's little goblin minion. Just like, come on, give me a little frown. Just a little frown.
That actually sounds pretty close to the gingerbread man from Shrek.
Oh no! Not the gumdrop buttons! Is Yam here?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
She's giving out the subway. She'll be here soon.
It gives people a chance to pop on in.
Only 80 people here. I don't believe you.
Nah, it's Twitch, baby. It's thinking. It's counting. Oh boy. Here, I'll even refresh the Twitch and then get another Obi-Wan Kenobi commercial. Yeah, it says only 62. But this one says 86. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we should probably fix these costumes, huh?
Ryunosuke was the only one I was wearing.
Okay, I'm here now.
Welcome back.
Okay, there we go. It's like 350. That's more believable. Okay. Enough time has been given, and my body hurts, so, let's go.
Oh, boy.
Gonna be a lot of me in this case, from what I understand.
That's okay, because we love you. Clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night.
What
One
did they
of an
call
invisible
that?
killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Oh. Scary.
Ooh, scary.
That's no good.
Alright. I don't really remember the voice I did for him. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer. So, can you turn down the harpsichord just a little? Thank you. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. He's so handsome. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. I have not eaten in 4 months either.
I will eat the letter.
I've been waiting for Susato to send me some food.
What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. I haven't smelled the smell of good food since I moved to England. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate.
Bruno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious, as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some new... Shh. Well, Yam, you're here. Would you like to take over Sholmes?
Oh my, what an honor.
Honor!
Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow.
Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, yes, I see.
It's finally
So
happening! The case of the littlest kiss.
The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again.
What are you talking about?
You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning.
Can I talk now?
But of course! Though I don't look for admiration, you understand.
My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you.
Oh, it has?
And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Why did that happen?
Really put the button off?
Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not?
Get down, get down. Sorry.
As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped! Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder, then, that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place!
What?
Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket.
And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is! Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes.
This sounds like a great way to reintroduce the player to the investigation segment. Helpful.
What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Ellie, Bruno said that the cat needs to get off my desk, please.
Please! Oh my god, Al.
But Ellie, Bruno said when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise in the morning.
Well, that really is a surprise.
This fucking guy. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. And this is a
All right, then.
baby.
Yes, hello. Enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
This girl is my opium dealer, and here we have Irish Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion, A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, as published in Rance magazine.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprise did you find this morning?
Well, I received a letter from Japan.
Bacon in my mouth. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really?
That's right, Luke. That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact.
Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh, yes, what fun!
I left.
Okay, I don't have it. So I guess it's a talk. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask?
She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer in the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow.
I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness.
Natsume.
You asshole.
No, don't recall that name.
Of course you do. We helped the man twice. You know, in those 2 cases, 2, not 1, 2, that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago.
Ah, the mustached twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache?
He didn't have 2 mustaches, Harry.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now.
A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. As for the startling part, you will not believe what the defendant tried to pull in court. You know what I'm going for.
What?
This guy was fucking crazy.
So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato?
She met a moon man. Do you
A
remember?
moon man!
Do you remember
it was
the
judge's
case?
birthday.
George's birthday.
Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, yes! It's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur.
He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further.
No, it took place half a year ago. For what purpose?
Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings.
Oh?
On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikitoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes! It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean.
Oh.
That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure?
Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
Oh no, they took out that part of my brain when they operated.
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Iris has to burp.
Indeed.
Ew. See, Will is rubbing
Indeed.
off on you.
Indeed it was. Due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe.
That's right, telling her to return urgency. Urgency.
Yes, because her father had passed away.
No. It just said that he... Fuck, I can't read. That's the surprising news. It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home? Why would you do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what this is all about? Oh, you got chest.
Ah, well, who can say?
What? But you said...
Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today.
I doubt that.
And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fault in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley, don't worry. See you later!
Ta-ta!
He disappeared.
He scuttled off rather quickly there.
Ran out like a crab.
I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last!
Iris, are they? I don't know why I'm surprised.
The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them right now?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could be hiding in the shadows of this case, but perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what's happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed, reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Very interesting chronology.
Yes.
It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. Piff had been stabbed. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement on Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker. But by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in sort. And after a grueling... Nope, can't do that even as a joke. Literally can't do it. Grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived.
That was a good impression, Ryunosuke.
Thank you. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning.
I quit!
Get out of my house! The victim of Briar Road's stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once!
That was also a good impression.
So, Susato-san and I summoned a hansom, and Sholmes appeared and headed immediately to the hotel. I don't know what that is, actually.
Wow.
It's like a kind of like cart coach kind of thing. Wow.
Rat.
Rat.
We're the rat.
There you are at last!
Good morning, Mr. Sholmes.
I think not. You're late! What on earth took you so long?
1 second. I'm sending an image of a handsome for you guys. It was very important to me.
Very important.
I had to get very, very familiar with it when I was reading actual Sherlock Holmes back in the day. Okay.
Oh!
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. And it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right. And it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time.
The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by Telegram Boy. That's his name. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you.
Well, thanks for that.
Sorry, I was taking a drink. Anyway, you're here now. The victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness.
She looks like she's awake. Oh, her.
Oh,
Looking at the
honey.
rat. Oh, no.
Is that her rat? You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here.
Oh, she knows the rat. She knows him. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back.
Her name is, yes, here we are. Miss Green.
All right, Will.
Oh,
Rat.
God.
Rat.
Rat! Ah, a mouse! Mr. Naruto, an enormous mouse!
Vermin in a hospital. Doesn't seem the best.
It looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. Gross. Good morning.
Oh. I don't even know what voice to do for her.
We'll see.
Oh, honey.
Hello. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh, no. Was it your knife that? Wait, was it your knife that? Oh,
She's
okay.
trailing off.
Are you the man who...
No, I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you.
Oh, no. Was it your knife then? Are you the one?
No, I assure you. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant.
Someone in chat. Oh, now she's gotta be racist.
No!
Looks at the mouse. Was it your knife then? Was it you?
We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes.
Best wishes for me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist.
Oh,
Well,
Mr.
what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist.
You are.
But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't.
Every public Discord server has this person, and they're fucking exhausted.
It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
Oh god.
Yo, every Discord server got the person who'd been stabbed.
They always told me to just take a stab at it, and well, that's what I get.
The goddess always told me she'd slug me. I don't think that's related, actually.
Oh, I'm so sad.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose.
Well, I died.
To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time.
But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Oh my god, Shrooms, let me eat. Indeed it is, my dear madam! Spectacularly, by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Oh my god, let me eat.
Mr. Sholmes, do you guys just want me to cover until you're done eating?
No, that's
Yeah,
okay.
go for it.
I was on the last bite. I'm okay now.
I love the idea that they're eating from the same sandwich, like, motherfucker!
Civ?
Mr. Sholmes,
Okay.
as you well know,
I'm trying, hold on.
as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh, I see.
Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
Oh, no, shut the fuck up. We're all so relieved that you're in the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. English joke, I'm learning.
Oh.
So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh, come on, don't put a nickel in her.
Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
This is Delicia Scone's ancestor.
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts? Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh, can you really call it living?
Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but...
Oh, is she Pooh Bear now?
I think she's turning into Pooh Bear because it's funny. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see.
Oops.
Very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
In chat. No, see, I ain't an artist.
Brixton is the same 10 stops away from the underground from here. Oh, on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town centre.
Does that... Nope.
Oh,
Does
sorry.
that matter, Mr. Sholmes?
Perhaps not, but Briar Road is far less salubrious.
Salubrious.
Is a far less salubrious
Is a
part.
far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means,
Salubrious is a villain in my D&D campaign.
including the maleficent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means. I suppose Saseki-san does fit the bill.
It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district.
Have you ever met an artist?
I was dreadfully lost.
That's all.
You think I can afford a carriage? You stupid bellend.
What's this? What is this thing?
Stop hitting me!
Her little doinker extends like an exclamation point. What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh, dear me. Do forgive me.
If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
I need to grab my son. Come here, son.
Grabs the mouse.
That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings.
I forget, we don't read the investigation dialogue, do we? Just looking up. I
think it's alright if we do.
It's mostly just a time thing. We brought here directly after we stabbed on pavement.
Family friend Boston Shore.
Okay. Then switch inside. No, Mr. Naruhodo. But the Alright, here, read me into that. Fine, we'll read.
Well, I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her.
Alright then, let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and...
No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings.
But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. Be nice to Naruhodo. What?
Oh, that's in there on my rejection letters to other fine art academies. Well, actually, they were great art. That's why I'm at fine. It's fine art.
I have nothing else to light my fire with, so I keep applying. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? Man, we're awful today.
Hey!
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. It's quite awful, actually. They're terrible. Don't bother buying them.
No one uses these. Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Oh, yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
No, they had the same haircut. That's fucked up and weird. My, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Only when it involves men, not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of.
Is there a Mr. Narrowfodder here? Mr. Narrowfodder!
Narrowfodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Oh, Mr. Narrowfodder, good. This is for you. It's a message from, Mr. Saucy Nutmeg.
Mr. Natsume sent a message to me.
But why would a policeman be delivering...
Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning?
I hate letters!
Oh, what are you waiting for? Let me see that.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is most unexpected.
It's in Japanese.
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes?
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note?
No! How could I have?
It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did.
That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the note, my dear fellow.
Let us read it!
The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings.
Wait, what?
What? What?
I'll hail a fiacre at once! What the fuck?
I want to guess fiacre?
Let's find out. I'm gonna Google it.
It's like a handsome that's ugly.
Yeah!
It was only...
A fiacre is a form of hackney coach, horse-drawn four-wheeled carriage for hire. Oh, so it's like a coach but bigger.
Okay.
It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and that we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, until they realized that was actually Jell-O. But we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought.
Dun 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 dun.
No! No! I wanted him!
I'm so sorry, Jell-O. Maybe he's sleeping.
The bad luck continues.
Oh my! The gentleman is deceased. Without question, he is dead!
Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Why is this happening? Why to me?
Jell-O says.
I've only just got out of court. Yesterday! I was finally home after 2 days of misery, and then I wake up the next day to this! No early bird should catch a worm like this! Woeful worm without a wiggle!
Oh, let me screen cap. No! God, fuck, I want that. I'll go back and get it later.
I'm in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache.
Not the horrible hairlock, Sholmes! Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you!
Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
No!
I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you?
Fuck off!
Hello.
Hey!
Hello. Here they are, already. The busybodies.
Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face in a crime scene, Sholmes.
Buddy,
Bro,
maybe if you had
that's a cardiac issue.
if you had a diet of anything other than fried potato wedges.
No, it's fine. It's the same potato over and over again. I'm just recycling it.
It's a fucking chip and wedges, guys. It's fish and chips.
It's fish and chips.
I know. Which are potatoes.
Fish are not potatoes. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food.
Yeah, see? It's like a 10-to-1... What are you defending here, you guys? They're potatoes.
He only eats the fish.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke. Good morning, Inspector.
This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything.
Oh, good morning to you too, sunshine.
Oh, Natsume. I'm so sorry, Jello.
Oi, I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene.
Oh, no.
No chance. I know your kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it.
Someone's in a bad mood.
There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there?
Let's open up a window, shall we? Starts punching the bricks out.
All right. Sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor.
No, curry won't be popular here for another couple decades.
So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he?
Mr. William Shamespeare. He was a lodger here.
Shamspeare.
Oh, Shamspeare. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss as it happens, or just dead.
Mr. Shamspeare?
It was the landlord, or Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at the usual hours, so Garadeb got worried and kicked the door down.
Isn't he in a wheelchair? Oh, yeah. But doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg?
Right, he's got two. Oh, yeah, you're right there. It was a jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
He can fucking hear you. Soseki-san.
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. He even done some time inside the petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in his house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it.
So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved with the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
He's crying because his friend is dead.
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious, but I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter.
Trixie, fuck off, man.
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
No.
Oh dear, Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again.
Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Oh man, how unfortunate.
And he's ugly.
Anyway.
Oh, leave him alone!
He's weird, hunchback, don't like him. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. The body's still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body.
Susato, meanwhile. Hello? Hello?
Why are you doing that to me?
What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences.
These are cool attacks.
So, the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So, did you know the victim? Were you friends?
Someone in chat, I just noticed that Soseki's wearing slippers. So it's slippers. My guy is wearing Geta in fucking London in the middle of February.
Yeah, and check out that authentic kimono he's wearing. What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? I'm shaking him!
He's got chronic anxiety.
Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me into his room?
Never! On my honor, I swear it!
Yo, you guys fuck?
You guys fuck?
You guys fuck?
You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'm Soseki! When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking for you to come, though, through that inspector over there!
Hello.
Jones.
Fuck!
Fucking freak. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
Ah! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating naturally.
There's nothing natural about that pose.
And he's gone.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Soseki is ugly!
What if
Why
this
are
guy,
you being so mean to him?
what if this guy isn't actually dead? He's acting, and this is one of his performances.
God, I fucking hope so.
Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
My goodness! But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow?
No, don't mind me. Forget I was here.
Okay.
And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips.
Nonsense!
Oh my god, did he kill himself trying to do Shakespeare? Did he kill himself trying to do Romeo and Juliet?
Oh,
All right.
my God.
I doubt it. With a cup? Probably not. I think he died from a gas leak. All right, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions?
No, please, pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant.
Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course. Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts.
We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logical and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1.
Da-dum.
Miss of Wood.
He's fucking dead!
Wouldn't you give anything for him to just like get up in the middle of this and like grab a bite of that cheese next to him?
It's butter.
Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. From at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison.
Poisson.
Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate. It contains, as you will observe...
It's
soap.
It's soap.
Lord!
Oh! 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap! Meaningful? Indubitably. Not eat soap. Why is this soap set so purposefully open upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact, yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer.
This is like a meme template.
It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life.
I love her luck.
Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of his plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though, personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul
Be
conduct,
nice to me!
I said me, not you. Are you outing yourself?
Yes, Jello is projecting.
I mean, it is weird, my guy.
The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder?
He might be my favorite character.
The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal would have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed.
Whoa!
What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock.
Somebody pulled on that door too hard.
No, it's just like you kicked it open.
Oh, right.
Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on his way to the hereafter.
Jerk!
Man, Herlock is so lucky that he had Wilson and Iris.
Thus concludes Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Applause, please.
You did a bad job.
Yay!
Love this ramshackle set.
Don't look at me.
There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes.
You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Can you go back and read that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. Well, see, no matter how hungry he was, you really think the man would have eaten soap?
Yes, it is quite apparent that the man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but once so destitute, soap could suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing.
How extraordinary!
In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past.
You've eaten it, you mean?
My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut.
God, he's stupid. And did it?
As I writhed in agony on the floor and split the contents of my stomach, yes! I believe it did! The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste that leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it.
Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did.
There's in trouble with me as well, actually. Oh, this soap is awful.
Don't eat the soap!
It's Mr. Natsume. I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye, like a little fly. It's almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow.
Nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
Oh!
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions,
we know how this works.
Huzzah!
Yes, do this.
Do it!
We're doing it.
They're doing it.
Alright. Alright.
Sorry, I'm a little rusty on my white girl gangster.
Oh.
What's that little thing on his, do you see that little thing on his pants there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt it with chopsticks.
And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate.
But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap.
Well, put them together and see if there's anything missing.
Do you think he was drinking tea with his soap, buddy?
The cup is empty, so there's no way of knowing.
How about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water, and he was dissolving soap in it so he could gulp down as much as possible?
Please remember that he may not actually have been the soap lover that he's been made out to be.
Haha, soap lover.
Oh, the other soap is there, yeah.
Yeah, if you put them together and there's, like, nothing missing. Then...
Look, there's more soap on the floor. Mr. Shamspear must have really loved the stuff.
Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at this soap. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table?
What the? How can that be? Why have I suddenly become as dumb as Sherlock Sholmes?
It's the proximity. I think that they're two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
Okay. I'm gonna keep looking in case there's like another item. I don't think there is, but...
Is the fork bent somehow or something?
Okay, I don't think I can actually investigate that. Yep, alright. It's just the soup. Right, I forgot how awkward the controls here are. Take that! Could it be that that man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table, in short, the victim was not eating soap at all.
But it's obvious, really. For no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, without my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite.
But that begs several questions, including the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table.
An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. Hold on, yeah, this is already read.
Whoa!
Mr. Sholmes is still pushing for the soap argument, then.
Perhaps he's suggesting that the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Why are you laughing? I don't understand.
I don't want to make the joke.
Because, like, if you're
I
eating a
was
fork
right.
with two...
Wow!
No, this
Is
isn't
it just a clipping thing?
Yeah, I think it's just one of his little dangles back there, like a tiny version of the bell.
Damn it.
Yep. Yes, a Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves.
Western
It's
vessel!
a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty.
Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea.
My thoughts exactly.
Okay. Alright.
Take that!
Teacup.
I would like a vessel of appley juice, please.
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by Poisson that tainted the Western vessel.
Indeed. Cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop.
There's no sign of food anywhere in the room.
Which leads us to...
He's
I'm sorry. He's so funny. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun.
Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deductions so far.
Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing but tea in that cup. There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me...
Susato, I can't call it a simple teacup, as it may have indeed become a poison cup. Is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Shome suggest it? There's more to this deduction than it seems.
We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for more...
What are you doing, Sim?
I'll lose it.
Man, you guys are so dumb.
Oh my god.
No.
Cup stands for Western vessel for drinks.
Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer.
Oh, it's got a little chip in it.
Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that the victim's last supper...
They were having a soap eating competition.
Oh, hello again. That one dude the audience insisted was Australian, though there was no evidence of that in the first game at all. There was a guest present.
At the very least, we can say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim.
What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable.
To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. And we read this, I think.
Oh, sorry.
In which case...
That was Ryunosuke.
Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow.
Okay. Do you mean to say you know who exactly was in this room at the time of the victim's death?
Indeed.
Someone in chat, the Australian suited man. I'm not sure.
He was wearing a suit of Australia.
I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now.
I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap.
Amazing line. But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about.
Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we can not ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, I suppose not. Time to look around again.
Ooh, books. Ooh, glasses.
At first glance, it seems the only thing in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially.
I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gabrielle. Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. Oh, sorry.
Could just be incredibly
coincidence.
Yeah, that word.
They're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day.
Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed, Soseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them, that's right.
And now those 3 titles are here in the room with the victim.
Yet Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before. What does this mean, you think?
I really don't know what to make of it. He lied or he pushed them in through the door.
It's probably that, but I'll keep looking.
It's empty.
God, I would love to back out after that, and that's all they have to say. Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you.
What happened?
That makes you think, doesn't it?
He spent 4 months around Sholmes.
It makes me think that you were full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time.
No, this is in the past. This was not in the 4-month interim.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Bother. Susato-san's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle. Damn! Damn!
I like this. These games are very charming.
I never thought you'd say that.
I like these games. I mean, a lot of the stuff is still dumb, like the moon logic, but...
Indeed. What reveals the answers, of course, is the pile of familiar books.
Quite so! It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It is the link to the truth.
Hello.
Aww.
Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. I'm Soseki! That's just a coincidence.
I'm gonna master cut of every time you've forgotten you were Soseki.
In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment.
No, never! Non-negotiable! Oh, no. I'll take it. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours.
He's morbid out.
Having purchased the books...
What does that mean?
It's all making fun of Morbius. The movie with the vampire, the new Marvel thing.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I checked something. Okay. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that.
I have a turtle shell.
In other
That's
words,
his arm!
you could have only brought these 3 books here to the victim's room.
Get down!
Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey.
No!
Oh no! In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning.
And that same night, the victim had a visitor.
And that visitor...
was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction.
Pay me.
That'll be 8,000 quid.
He fucking vogued his way home.
I'm afraid you crumped the man to death.
Gets in the door, does a death drop.
Jeez.
I don't think I've ever seen him do this pose from a different angle.
The side, yeah.
Not again. Oh man, dude. Not again. Not again. Not again. All right.
Well then,
guilty.
Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard.
Yeah, see, he eats the potatoes too. It's on the 3rd bite.
Oh.
Okay.
But wait. Hold your horses.
Yes.
Door, key, locked. Entry, exit entirely impossible.
He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal.
What, you think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure.
But misery.
Ah, the sixth dungeon in the Dark World in Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later.
The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache.
You horrible Herlock Sholmes!
He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he?
Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside there's a carriage waiting.
Local student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but you have to help me. Please, please, I'm innocent.
All right, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
Oh, and one more thing.
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me.
Oh no!
Now he is your favorite, Civ.
So,
I knew he was my favorite.
his evil curse still apparently unbroken, Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective.
My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you.
You reading my mind again?
Don't kiss the body.
Gross!
I just noticed the world's ugliest Dr. Seuss cosplay over here.
Did you mean any Dr. Seuss?
Oh, there's an S on that. On
Well-
the king costume?
Well-
Oh, Seuss.
Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now.
He's on the
Yes, that's
ceiling.
right. Of course.
What?
Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garrideb, who discovered Mr. Shamspeare.
Ah, Mr. John Garrideb, yes.
I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual.
Right. We must remember to go and talk to him later then. Okay, I wanted to look at this fucking, like, glass shard this whole time.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. There's always people in the way.
What's this?
Looks like part of an envelope, I think. Who the hell opens a letter like this?
A freak.
I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
Is that significant?
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there?
Ah, she's right.
And yet, here we have the torn off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual.
I agree. We'd better take this just in case. Okay, let's look at it. Oh, wrong. Yep, that's what an envelope looks like. Oh, okay. There we go.
Whoa. Gumshoe, turn it.
Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they?
Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. And judging from the angle of the rapier, the person in question must have been right-handed.
Miss Susato, I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes.
You can never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never!
It might have been
was very
torn out of
cute.
someone's hand.
Horrendous.
Ugly.
No, there's that little S there. What's up with that?
Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady goings-on. Oops, sorry.
Oh, that's a cute pose. I haven't seen that one before.
A king? I've always dreamt of being a king.
What the fuck?
Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo, or such like.
With a, oh man, with a chonmage.
Chonmage.
Yeah, with a chonmage top knot. Every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage. They are ugly, bro.
Do they?
They're functional, okay? Oh, you'd look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a chonmage and a sword?
Probably about the same, really.
Honestly, yeah.
Nothing particularly of note. Okay.
What are the drawings on the wall there?
I think they're theater
As we've
posters.
seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that the Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property, it's extraordinary.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh.
What is it, Miss Susato?
If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Waggy!
Soap! Oh. Yeah. Yes. It looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspeare who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room?
Look at... What? On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it.
What, outside?
He was making bootleg butter. Bootleg soap.
Oh, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap.
It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps?
It's... oh, bars of soap.
Smuggling shit in the middle of the soap. Soap. What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside of a window?
I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. I am a little hungry. There are two, after all.
Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's here? Look at this soap.
Ah! Sorry, I'm scared of soap.
Oh! Do you see? In the middle there? There's a patch. It's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but it looks like those little jelly cookies that you have during Christmas time.
Some sort of fancy design, I suppose?
It's an olive!
Only in Great Britain.
It looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful!
Every single circle looks like that, Susanna.
I'm very patriotic. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room?
Someone in chat, yo, Shamspeare got invited to Smash!
Can you imagine if this guy got invited to Smash out of everyone in this franchise?
Oh,
imagine if he was the last character, too.
We got some red moles in chat.
This part is a different color there. It's an exquisite design, isn't it? Very simple. It's a fucking circle.
Trust
Why'd
the British.
you read it like that?
Because color.
Because there was
We spell it like that, Civ.
Color.
Trust the British to turn a boring bar of soap into something special.
I quite like it. It reminds me of the Hinomaru design of the Japanese flag again.
No. Guys, it's clearly a separate, you can pull it out and they smuggle things in soap. Guys, please, I'm begging you.
No, it's gonna be a great twist later.
Alright. The other streamers I watched had no idea that was gonna happen.
Oh, is this fucking soap?
Oh my goodness, Iris made a cat door in the middle of this soap. Therefore, she must be exported.
I didn't see that before. Like and subscribe.
I meant exiled, but exported is a very
They smuggle her on a steamer.
And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind.
This is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins. Fucked up.
I see. Yes, now that you've pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So, you mean if you put a coin in here...
That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. Ooh.
You know what the saddest purpose for that soap would be? Is that he's pouring a wax or something in where that
making coin seals.
Making fake coins so that he can just keep himself fucking warm.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold?
Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Oh,
Check
shit.
his hat on the floor.
Hang on, sorry. I clicked off of it and Twitch is fucking me. Give me a second.
Also, someone in chat. No, we do not call her Irish. Her name is Iris. We have said Iris literally every time.
Chat hates the Irish.
No! Leave me alone!
This is a gas wall light, isn't it? Must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. Oh, I'm a genius.
Incredible. Knock knock, coconut.
Gas light. Japanese flag.
A gas stove. London really is a city of gas.
It's really foreshadowing the murder. But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb had an open fire at the top, didn't they?
They're suicidal.
Oh, yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. It's so much cossier.
Eureka, Susato!
I have to say, the one thing I really appreciate about my new apartment, rather than the house I was previously renting, has a gas stove. I hate electric stove tops. They are so much worse in literally every way. They're harder to clean. They don't turn off and deheat as fast. They don't have a good visual indication for when they're still hot and dangerous. I hate them.
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it?
Where does the audience sit, though? I read that as for the naughty Shakespeare performances.
Actors aspiring to great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office.
What?
Then you could practice your art every single day!
I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge.
Why do you always ask me to put on facial hair and pretend to be men?
I don't know.
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal.
Oh, an excuse to cross-dress as a man? Well, if I must.
If I must. What about that box on the floor?
Nothing.
Could we? I think we
did you check his hat?
With him.
I haven't checked the body yet.
Okay. The poor man, so young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was?
I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
Sorry?
I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. I'll just reread it now, one moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Okay, I guess this is... Boy, that's all we have to say about the body?
One of the teacups that Mr. Shemspeare and his guests drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside.
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, what did he call the Western receptacles?
The vessels.
The Western vessels. The Wessels are both empty. Oh, I got a cousin over in Wessels. Can
You got a vessel there, I got to wet my vessel.
Yeah. That's true. So, one was Mr. Shemspeare's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Oomph. Uh-oh.
An egg?
Yeah, I don't know why that was the sound I made. I assume this is Garrideb, the moon-faced guy?
Oh, right.
Looks like you... Which I guess would be Will right now.
Sure. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh?
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's Gregson.
Inspector Gregson, back so soon.
I thought I'd trick you. I got you. After I threw the little Japanese fellow in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard.
I love this kind of shoulder cape.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then. Awkwardly shuffles off with a teacup in each pocket.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low being back in a cell again so soon.
I'm sure.
I say with a smile.
We should probably go and...
I called it!
Yes!
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Out! Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more.
Nice Macbeth, buddy.
Now, how soundeth the next part?
It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Indeed! Oh, happy day!
There's my death drop!
The death drop! I was right!
Walking Dead!
What a crumple.
What a guy!
The fella isn't dead at all?
Whoa.
Oh, okay. What was that nonsense he was saying, though?
I think? Yes, it was from William Shakespeare. Wait, you can have both? I thought that they would retcon Shakespeare existing. This is fucking weird.
Civ, they've said the name Shakespeare like 4 times in this scene already.
I'm crazy. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5.
It's insane you managed to locate that quickly. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. Nah. So it's like he's still in prison.
Oh, it's that yellow guy.
Banana. Whatever do you think will happen now?
Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
Can't catch a break.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. Yeah! It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But it was an accident. Attempted suicide or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh. What's this?
Soap.
Oh, he's looking for Curious George.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see. This is so funny. Just like, what can I see? Looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings.
Is that the soap?
Yeah. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto? What the hell?
Excuse me, could we have a word?
Oh, he's a bee!
I don't remember who voiced this guy last time. He just ran off.
Well, it won't matter.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
I do too, but I don't remember.
God, they got holes in their fucking window. Christ.
With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mr. Congratulations, Garadeb live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows the property had. In order to pay those taxes...
That is a sad state of affairs.
Britain sucks. Especially for people like Mr. Natsume.
I suppose that's the blah blah blah.
Alright,
I thought we might look at the... No.
Obvious soap.
But...
No! You're too far ahead of the game.
I guess, you know what? Let's just go talk to our boy in jail. There's no real reason right now to, do anything but move.
Yo, check out the fucking tower in the background. That's rad.
Oh.
He escaped. He's
right.
on the ceiling.
He's not here yet, so let's go to the Garadebs.
Oh, damn, I ate both my cookies. Fuck.
Oh, no.
Here we are again. The eccentric
It's always
landlord's
such a
eccentric
pleasure.
top floor abode.
We're here because of Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget.
Ah, you chaps, eh?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday.
It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really.
Came straight... Yeah. Came straight back here after that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Caradeb.
Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about the dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they?
Arise. Get out.
It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened.
Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail.
Damn.
But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Do you not have a master key?
I'm a slumlord. What do you expect?
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do grunt work, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side. He were dead.
Yes, probably.
The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, William Shamspear. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
What do you think is the chance that Shamspear is the artist girl's brother?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Saseki-san would fall into.
Oh.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Read a few plays. Oh, yeah. Read a few plays of the bold bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
I'd read that one.
Ah, yes. William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. I've gasped. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
And then translated back into English in the case of the Kageki Shoujo English dub.
It's very nonsensical.
It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Of course.
I'm not sure.
Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspear would have had much in common. They were friends!
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder!
Let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude!
Get out of my house!
Stop reading his mind.
Put my food away, BRB, real quick.
I think with Naruhodo, his blue text is him mumbling under his breath.
Yeah, that would make the most sense, but I do love the idea because only Susato responds to it that she can read his mind.
After Holmes does too, or Sholmes.
Oh, sure.
After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at that time.
Mr. Geradeb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose.
Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything all right, Miss Susato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrideb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly?
Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean.
That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noise from the ground, noises, plural, from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
Then how did you know Mr. Garrideb? Then how did you know Mr. Garrideb?
It's the gas, woman! The gas tells me everything! It speaks to me in whispers!
The gas?
My precious!
What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything?
Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I more or less worked that out.
Oh, every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too.
Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Boom.
Well, obviously the room would get brighter.
Exactly. But at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe.
Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here, and they glow brighter in the rest of the house.
Right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
You've got it.
Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either to light or put out their lamps and fires.
Clever. Clever girl.
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it uses slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garrideb. Absolutely fascinating.
God, can you imagine?
You up till 1 a.m.
Can you imagine being this bored with nothing to do in the 1800s?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, nothing to it, really.
And I really can't see how that's going to help us with the case, either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrideb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well...
Sorry, I was looking at a possible splinter I had in my hand.
Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
Get out of my room.
Okay, goodbye.
I need to speak with the gas.
Okay, we're leaving.
My new wife.
Hello, gas.
Oh.
So,
Blair Witch Project!
Has the Akuma symbol on his back?
He's in mourning. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now?
We sure didn't feed his cat.
Locum student Mr. Naruto is quiet. Oh, yeah, yes. What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Shones.
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost.
But
His diabolical deductions. They're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you!
Well, that sort of hurts.
Oh, somebody in chat brings up, I would love it if the UK tea kettle power surges were included as a clue/plot point in the case. That is such an interesting cultural thing. God.
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction too.
Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh?
The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again.
Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder, which apparently in this game's world is significantly less bad than actual murder. That's great, isn't it? Mr. Natsume?
It's terrible!
Oh!
I'm stuck in this cell suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick! You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Ugh, selfish shyster! Make up your mind, are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William!
I'm not that wishy-washy.
Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamspear was never actually dead in the first place.
Ah, yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last.
Oh!
Oops.
Oh, Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspear, didn't you?
I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present.
Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story.
Why am I cursed like this?
Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume?
There's nothing to tell! But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday!
That case that saw Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back.
It's hard to believe that was
Only yesterday!
The worst Studio Ghibli film!
After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening at 9:30 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspear.
So you did go to the victim's room then?
As we feared.
I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the very first time. I was just a young boy in love.
Then what made you decide to
go?
Mr.
Natsume, you are 38 years old.
You don't know me. I bumped into him when arriving back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. And we compared which flavors of soap are best when you're poor, and we decided to try some he got in. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell.
That ties in with what Mr. Geradib said, that the victim went out and came back after 8.
So we met again later that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I'd brewed as a gift.
So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then?
And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you?
How old is he?
God, I love him.
Oh, this is how you draw characters.
It is!
Okay.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. I thought I had it good with my Juliet argument, but then he showed me this dreadful anime where she was pathetic. And I demanded he destroy it.
That's true, but let's be honest, Juliet could not pull off anything. She was cursed.
Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare.
And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspear's tea?
No! Never! Not at all! Team Juliet won! That was me! And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit! I swear it! Categorically!
Okay, so somebody tried to poison Natsume then.
No!
Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned that it's... I like to read him sadly, and the way I do that is to, like, constantly be at the edge of a yawn. So
Yeah.
I've learned that it's no place for me.
I love this comment in chat. Death battle!
Romeo and Juliet.
God.
Both have no skills. Who will win?
Neither!
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture.
Juliet did have a height advantage, though.
There are foreigners everywhere I look. They all...
Yeah, she did have Tybalt as a summon.
They all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the
But then
impression.
again, Benevolo's buff AoE was pretty good.
That's the impression
Benvolio.
Yeah, I was gonna say Benevolo. That's a way to
You know
read
what
that.
I mean.
Ain't that a car?
That's the impression I get whenever I go out. Makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. And I've moved more times than I can remember. And then, 1 week... and 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? Doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me.
The rent?
Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
You guys live in... I don't know how to tell you guys this. You live in England? Every room has had a person die in it.
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why.
I have some very unfortunate news. You live in London, England. You are always within 20 feet of a British person.
That, like, made my brain leap to that. Like, you're always within 5 feet of a spider. You're a... The average where it says that each year an average person eats 2 British people is because of British eater Georg, who is an outlier and should not have been counted.
And that's why, like, anytime you see someone snoring, a British person, what, right, what's all this then? And just climbs in your mouth.
Surely no one would want to live...
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended me the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. Why everything gotta cost money? A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning.
Oh, I hate this comment in chat. This your gobbo, isn't it? Mario pipes in. Horrid.
That's
Horrendous.
really funny.
Mario pipes in.
I love that. But after I
Great
moved in,
descriptor.
I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful?
No.
I realized that if I grab the bars and then think of my own little panic situation, I could just shake the entire prison till it opens!
How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? How did it make you feel? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you?
No.
it's the gas.
My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been...
I want to hand Soseki a shake drink so he can mix it for me.
It's been one long... I've never been able to drink milk, only butter! It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to this place.
A nightmare.
Don't hand Soseki a newborn.
A nightmare? You've been having drad beams, you mean?
Another comment in chat. British person at 2 a.m. A couple believe I'm still being eaten!
all the souls who died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. But he got sleep paralysis. That really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body, I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why I keep committing crimes to get arrested. I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. You know, get out of London, get out of Britain, move into the ocean. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Ooh, Susato-san knows how to make the man listen. He always sounds like he's talking through a fan. Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garadeb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Typical landlord. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place.
Perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements.
You mean because he's worried about their well-being?
Oh, maybe he knows that the gas lamp, the gas or whatever killed the last person who lived there.
Maybe. He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
Oh dear, no. It's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is that Mr. Shamspeare isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come round and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Oh, hello.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson.
I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh.
Which
you want to hear?
Always, every time the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it! That's my guiding principle.
Right, well, in that case, the good news it is.
What the hell is your problem?
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Why'd you ask?
Then why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, was just unconscious. He's come round now.
Please don't kill him again. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory.
He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness! It's all over then! I can leave this somber cell!
Sorry, no, that's not on the cards.
What?
Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shamspeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone?
Oh dear.
You don't mean...
I'm sorry to say, I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wicked skateth Soseki Natsume.
No!
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations.
No!
He really didn't like that Romeo won the debate.
Juliet won. And that's an important detail. It's a clue. And so, once again, Soseki-Fan found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted, or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him.
This poor guy.
Man, Soseki's got a shit deal.
I am dying all of the time.
I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Dying.
We didn't feed his cat.
Oh no! I'm dying and pissing and shitting and farting and dying.
The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon.
That's my line! Good morning!
Good morning, Mr. Natsume.
It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here.
Yes, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back.
But now this?
Can you imagine this happening to you?
I don't know, Jello, you tell me. It might happen in a couple days.
No! Another morning! Another murder! Oh, you'll know when I murder someone. Another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court. I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Hello. Mr. Natsume. Good morning.
Yes, morning. It is that.
So, here we are again.
Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotomo Esquires, what's the bad news?
Oh dear. You heard, did you?
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say!
Oh, I'm sorry.
You've done nothing wrong, Miss Susato. Now, what is it? Where is case 6, part 2? There isn't one. That's the whole case.
Oh, shit. Well, it appears the prosecution will be led by Lord Baron von Zeeks.
I'm back.
Van Zeeks?
No.
Time to say
is amazing.
time to say something racist and make Will look bad on stream. Here comes the racist plane.
Oh my god, what did I come back to?
Here comes the racist plane. Instead of a vroom, the onomatopoeia is some slur.
Oh my god!
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey. The most legendary prosecutor in the land. He's so hot, but so racist. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Saseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course,
he hottie, but he a naughty.
But by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through. But still, Will, I don't think I've ever mentioned this. Your laugh is such a, it's such a gift in editing, because it's such a good, bow after a joke to be like, all right, I can cut after Will laughs. Moving on.
I got the laugh from my mom.
You did? Yeah!
Aww.
Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter after all.
Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is the prosecutor. Oh no.
Even if let's try that again. That even if that person isn't found, you're gonna get.
Suzuki, stop holding me! I can't talk when you are holding me.
I'm sorry. You're so warm. I'm not allowed to afford gas. I'm not allowed to afford it.
Mr. Natsume, do you need a hug? Come here.
What is a hug? Oh, that's nice.
Poor man.
I would certainly like one.
Get out of
well,
here.
too bad.
And
Morbin time.
And we've experienced it firsthand. A man we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal, right here in the Old Bailey.
Man, I hope Van Zeeks did straight up murder that guy.
That would be amazing. Didn't he admit to it? I thought.
No, there wasn't really a resolution on that. I think
Okay.
the last game is mostly setting up the cast and a couple elements of this multi-character conspiracy going on.
No, Eggert did it, guys.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, duh. You're right. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes pouring into my soul again? Cast by evil spirits and now by the Reaper! Pair of petrifying perils, potentially!
Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Yes, I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You more than anyone now.
Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear.
I'm normal again.
Well, he's normal again, so the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom.
Let's go.
Last one, there's a rotten egg! Oh, yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean.
That's probably... Yeah, that's... I was literally about to say that. That's probably for the best. If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zeeks were to notice, he would make fun of me on the lawyer playground. At least that's my gut feeling.
Mr. Naruhodo.
I am a statue, insert puzzle element. You're right. Yes, you're so right.
The key item is a large squirrel.
Oh, this is a medium squirrel, you fuck.
Oh, it's a large squirrel.
Oh, well squirreled, Lodum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire, well squirreled.
I squirrel on this squirrel at my squirrel, and on the squirrel of squirrel. I will show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free with honor.
I'll squirrel him.
Jelly, your plosives are a little sharp, by the way. Oh, yes!
Can't do anything about it.
You're like popping if there's anything you can do about that.
I can't do anything about it.
Hold on, I'll check. Jello. Just as
No, I can't do anything about it.
Okay, I'm never sure if like you're no, never mind, my brain's bad.
Oh, look at this badge.
Yam, you should be the judge.
I was about to say, Yam, you want to be judge?
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
No!
I'm a vampire. The prosecution is ready.
The defense is ready, my lord.
Readiness for the trial, my learned Nipponese friend, is not what the defense needs.
Oh, we're starting right away then, I see. Okay.
What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. Stop! Stop it!
He cannot pronounce words in his native language.
It's Morbin time.
Jesus Christ. Give me a second.
I knew the moment I saw the word, here it comes! You're gonna be a silly Billy!
With the fucking tornado in the background, here it comes!
It's not just my imagination. It's really there. The ghost. Lord Van Zeeks has such an animosity toward us Japanese for some reason. Good luck, Will!
It was some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all.
Yet now he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason only when I'm defending this...
No reason.
Reaper.
Just gonna pass you a little note. Let me know. Circle yes or no.
It got fast in the chat. There was another comment I liked. Oh yeah, Van Zeeks looks like he's ready to crawl in a mouth.
What's that one fucking oh god damn it. No, that totally derailed my brain.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, what's that one post that's just like, I didn't know how to deal with the person who I had a crush on in elementary school.
I told them to get out of my school.
Yes, I just handed him a note that said, get out of my courtroom.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. His name is, what, Zeeks? It's so hard.
This Reaper. No, wait, hang on. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery and a shroud. Still, This isn't the time to be pondering that. Are you pondering what I'm pondering? I have to concentrate on Soseki-san's trial first.
Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Oh man, you know who I hope shows up again is that fucking knife-toting freak.
Knife guy!
Knife guy!
You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty?
Hello again.
Oh my god. Absolutely. I had a feeling this is... I don't know what... I might be a bad word, because this guy was racist last time. I had a feeling this squirrel wasn't innocent before.
Oh my god, someone's comment in chat. 6 actors in the BBC!
I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually.
Hello.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Hi.
I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick.
That's Cheesecake Cookie.
Yeah, it is! Who was this? He was like Scottish or something, wasn't he?
I think Aram was this guy.
Yeah.
And Civ was Piff there on the right.
I was Piff.
I mean,
who wants it?
Does Yam want to have big burly guy? Because I'm gonna have Van Zeek's probably yammering a lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm good with 2.
All right.
I can take him if you want.
Sure,
Okay.
whatever works.
Right. I couldn't. Was he Cockney as fuck? All right. I
You-
couldn't
yeah,
agree
Cockney as
more.
fuck, yeah.
I need to take home 5 bob tonight or the missus will go through the roof.
Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here, and heed his flock to a righteous verdict.
The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, completely unbiased, completely unfamiliar, all 6 people in London, all of them. And that the judge can only pass a sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt.
Now, Susato, that's not fair. We're missing Knife Guy and Typewriter Lady. There are 8 people.
Let me in! Come on! I'll fix it!
How dare you!
6 citizens of London chosen at random. Or at least that's the idea.
The prosecution would draw attention to the fact the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today.
Very well. Let us commence the trial. Lord Van Zeeks, your opening statement, please.
Comment and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision.
There's a comment in chat. Blonde guy is knife guy after lobotomy.
However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, and the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand. Me.
He just turns into bats and flies over.
The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself.
Hello.
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division.
Soseki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture.
Mr. Natsume.
Yes, my lord, sir.
It's
I'm
my
quite
birthday.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken that you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday.
The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough.
Oh, believe me, this is the last place I want to be.
Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court.
Right you are, sir. Soap, innit? The incident occurred at the Garadeb household where the defendant has lodging. In the ground floor room of the room, the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine.
Strychnine.
I've literally never seen the word in my life, thought I had a stroke. He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door.
That means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident.
No. Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible.
Although the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, lives to tell tale, he very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him.
That would be a good album name.
I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked. Not flattering.
Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased.
That's
oh,
right.
What's that pool on the ground by the gas?
Yeah, that's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was.
Very well. I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. Now then, Mr. Natsume.
I've learned my fucking lesson.
This is the teak. Sorry, the western vessel from which Mr. Natsume was drinking.
This... Okay, while I do appreciate these pith creature-shaped faces drawn on the sides of the cups, this is an interesting and ugly pairing of colors.
Yeah.
Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of the vessel is completely clean.
I suppose you must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark.
I always gulp it down too. Tea? Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. Never mind.
Sorry?
Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold.
Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in proper way to make tea.
Okay.
The little chips.
Someone
They're
is fucking yelling at me to investigate the soap, so I will do that.
Mr. Naruhodo, we are in the middle of a presentation, please.
Well, look, it's soap!
But the western vessels will very
Oh.
well.
Oh,
What is it, Mr. Naruhodo?
this bar of soap. When we first found it, I could have sworn there was some sort of round disc in the depression here. A reddish one, because it stopped being cold.
Yes, you're right. I remember it too. But now the depression is completely empty.
Oh, it evaporated?
Is it?
I
Do you
think it
think
just
it's
fell
frozen tea? Do you think it's frozen tea?
It
and
could
it
be
just
frozen
melted?
tea.
And that's what the stuff on the floor
Soap?
is?
They use the soap as
As a mold. As a
Yeah.
mold. Because
Yeah.
he's using it for the coins. That's why there's like wet stuff by the gas
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, okay.
That's honestly a very clever way to cheat the system.
Yeah.
Though, knowing what I know of history, I would not use tea as
But I mean,
my...
they have so much of it. You'd never know.
Where could the disc have gone?
But I mean, someone's got to like check that machine for the money at some point, right?
Maybe.
Eventually. Yeah, because they would have all melted out of it.
I mean, it doesn't look like there's a meter on it that like a professional gas person goes, exactly how much have you been using? I think it's just, well, someone used the gas and turned it on, and they don't know more than that. Anyway, who cares?
I just mean like you got to get the money out at some point. Like you'd open it, just be like, why is there all this tea in here?
Oh. Yes, I am so sick.
As the
Jesus.
defendant, do you have anything to say at all at this juncture?
They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits.
Not the best thing to lead with in court.
Gracious! What's haunted?
My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me! What about me? I've been nearly killed countless times.
Killed, Mr. Natsume? How?
Even on that fateful night it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me!
You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume.
But it's so cold. My runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
Oh my god.
Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events.
Innocent.
If I could raise one more point, my lord, one more conclusive point.
Conclusive? Go on.
Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, has regained consciousness after his ordeal, and he has named the true culprit.
B?
The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused.
The accused? Good grief!
Yes, him, I point.
Will, can you ease up? You might kill your voice. That's what Will sounds like, you guys.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Order! Order!
Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why has the victim accused him?
Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation?
That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result! Never will I touch tea again! Never!
The public pump was frozen, you say?
That's not information we've heard before.
That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine the witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection?
I have so many. None whatsoever, my lord.
Good. Then you will give your account of the events on the night in question to the court now.
Yes, my lord!
Van Zeek just leans on the desk. You're fucked. You're so fucked.
Your Honor, can you
We're
please...
fucked. We're so fucked.
Alright, I'm gonna, real quick, I want to look at that photograph up close.
You're fucked. You're so fucked. Just like...
Oh, the bar of soap isn't on the ground yet.
I mean, it was
took it.
behind him.
Okay.
We also can't... This is a really unfortunate photograph angle, because
Yeah.
we can't see the other teacup either.
It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
I'm sorry, what is this word again?
Strychnine.
Strychnine. Okay. Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guests left. The argument still stands.
Okay, I'm guilty.
Interesting.
Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward.
This won't mean anything to anyone else in here, but Romeo's Yonko tear is very funny.
Somebody pointed out in chat that Soseki is a Skrunkly, and I'm sorry, I said it was only Columbo, but I guess Soseki Natsume is a Skrunkly Scrimblow. I guess.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless, presumably, though. The teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they?
Why didn't I think of that?
And prom's tomorrow! Well, as it happens, no, we haven't been able to.
Because we stole them.
Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance.
How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done?
My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed.
B?
The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked.
Unable? Why? Man, Naruhodo, you were really hit by the stupid stick between this case and the previous one.
It's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop.
Examine the fucking teacup, you can't.
No, I don't want to! Someone must have been very thirsty indeed.
There's fucking shit crusted around one of them.
No, it doesn't count. He's like wiping it.
With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances.
Which I say in case someone from the future is playing a game set in this time period.
We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough.
The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
B.
I see. Thank you. The matter is clear.
Guilty.
Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend.
What?
They're not paying attention. You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed.
Guilty.
Guilty.
In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity.
Chill
Right.
out.
I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me.
Ah, there should be 7. Let me in there.
Mario pipes. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't.
Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination.
I'm not that cross, sir. Yes, my lord.
Are you mad?
You mad, bro? Get
Mad,
good at lawyer.
Cruising for a bruising.
Okay. Okay. He was completely harmless.
I want to hear about the literary debate. Tell us about it, bro.
Hold it! A literary debate about Shakespeare's work, I think you said.
Shakespeare. Ah, a very worthy topic of conversation, I must say.
Innocent.
Oh, yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet. Who was stronger?
It was a profoundly pleasurable parley.
Romeo and Juliet?
Who was stronger?
I know I'm going to regret asking this, but how did the debate go? Well,
Juliet was shredded.
Well, we both agreed that we would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out in a Greco-Roman style, naturally. What? Oh, nope. I did not click any fucking button. I don't know why autoplay started happening. Mr. Shamspeare had all sorts of costumes in his rooms for such a contest. So, when you say a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume, he as Romeo and I as Juliet. And after a vigorous, wild tussle, I, as Juliet, came out on top. A victory I'll cherish forever!
They were LARPing!
So you fucked.
I dare not imagine the terrible scene of damage.
You fucked, right?
The fact remains that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim, correct?
If I may interrupt for a moment, Saseki, how did it feel being dressed as a gender that is not the one you were assigned at birth? Just asking for a friend.
Just asking for the court record, you know.
For my friend. For my friend, Ryutaro.
I am actually quite curious myself.
Yes.
No reason.
Just everyone in court. I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I'd heard that he was too poor to have tea himself, you see. It's true.
Oh,
There was
Oh my
no
God.
Tea is expensive. There's no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room.
I wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such... I fully read that with, as, why is everyone looking at me with such a suspicious...
It's a game dialogue.
It really, I think that literally is. My tea was harmless, of course it was.
And do you have any basis for that statement, witness?
No!
Hold it. Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, was there? Other than the multiple puddles.
That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. Which is a pity, because one drop is all we would have needed to analyze it for poison.
Can you use this tea ring?
Nah.
I don't wanna. And you say you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsume?
Yes, definitely. By heaven and earth, I swear it.
The landlord was able to verify that as it happens. He confirmed that the defendant went back to his room at 11 at night.
And how was the landlord able to attest to this?
He, said it was the lamps, I believe.
The lamps, Inspector?
When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in the other parts of the house flicker.
Yes, Mr. Garrett seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants.
There's only one key to Mr. Shamspeare's room. I know that for certain. So he must have locked the door himself, from inside his room.
The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes.
So I'm right! My tea was harmless, completely harmless! If you take poison, you die! Everyone knows that!
It's not that simple, I'm afraid.
What do you mean?
I will not explain.
Oh!
How long does it take for symptoms to appear, then?
According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation.
So there's a... Oops, totally missed whatever that was. So the Nope. So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of the symptoms. There seem to be a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure.
Oh dear, death by poisoning again. It's always so awful.
30 minutes is a long time.
Doesn't follow up.
Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left.
You can't deny that. And it further degrades Saseki-san's alibi.
I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it.
Very well. The court will add this report to the court record as evidence.
30 is a number.
30 minutes ago. That's the same as 12 years ago.
Oh, yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms.
Great. Okay. Cause of coma. Ingestion 31. Oh, I guess he looks pretty good for a 31-year-old Brit in this era. He should be dead, frankly. Ingestion of a small quantity of strychnine. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of the substance being mixed with the tea the victim was drinking, but no sample could be attained for testing. The poison incident occurred around 1:30 a.m. That's not right.
That's way too late.
Yeah. Assessed from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have broken when the man collapsed after the delayed onset of symptoms. No container for the poison was found at the scene. Okay, so that time doesn't check out at all. Do they mention the time at all?
Yeah. Also, Seki said he left at 11.
I know they've said... Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, which one do I present it on? All right, we'll find out.
Yeah. I feel like you'd present the
thing on the
corner.
time thing.
Yeah.
You'd think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, let's find out.
Oh, sorry. A little weird on a keyboard. Okay, that was right.
Hey!
Mr. Natsume, You say it was 11 p.m. when you left to return to your room, correct?
Yes!
And Inspector Gregson, can we rely on the information in the medical reports unconditionally?
Of course we can. There's no problem with that report, Sunshine.
Do you think they calls him Sunshine because he's from the Sunrise Kingdom?
That's what I literally just realized as you said that.
I actually really like that.
It's a pretty cute nickname, actually. Actually, I think there's a very cute nickname.
I've been thinking that since the last game.
Well, we're all dumber than
Well,
you.
Gam's just so ding-dang smart and great, and we like.
Oh.
Always caught off guard how affected I am by cute yam noises. Anyway, I think there's a very big problem, because there's a chronological inconsistency between it and the defendant's testimony.
What? What are you on about?
Dude, you're an inspector. You should know that word. According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning. It's a really small thing, but I love that with this animation they give him ellipses, like he's actually looking for, like, to verify it while he's talking. And yet, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, left the victim's room at 11.
Ah! That's what I said!
Yes, that's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there. In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Natsume brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill to it 2.5 full hours after the defendant left?
The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Zieks?
Racism.
Oh shit.
Let me just get a little sip.
Sippy. Take your sippy. Okay.
He won't.
Pray forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered.
I'm thinking about Neopets.
I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hallowed chalice this luncheon. How could it have happened, you ask?
It didn't happen. The victim was a ghost.
What?
Ow!
I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea.
The victim was a ghost.
A phantom?
Danny Phantom, yes. Danny Fenton, or as you might know him, Danny Phantom. Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea later than the accused? He did it after.
Your Honor, the victim and also the accused, Daniel Fenton, entered the ghost machine at exactly this time, and he pressed this button.
And he was only 14. For example, at the time stated in the medical report, yes, at around 1:30.
I'm gonna be honest, I was just thinking of how funny it would be to have Danny Phantom on trial. Literally didn't absorb anything, but it seems Okay. Mr. Natsume brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there is a very well-known saying, drink tea while it's hot.
Objection. And in my country, there is an even more apt saying.
Oi, it's 7 bong!
There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea.
Ew!
The point is, if there was such a long gap, there may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned, other possibilities.
What sort of possibilities, counsel?
I don't know. I'm the defense.
All the Brits in chat. No, we don't!
Yeah. This is a weird defense that could get a man killed.
I do appreciate some iced tea. Let's be honest, iced tea, as Americans drink it, is a completely different drink than real tea.
Sure is.
Well, for example, the man could have had another visitor.
Another visitor? That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend, from someone who has nothing to substantiate it.
All right, then why don't you substantiate your claims, sir?
I don't feel like it.
Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition.
You suggest this may have been a suicide, Council. I
He
forgot I was the judge.
He was role-playing as Romeo. He might have gotten really into it.
Mr. Shamspear has categorically denied suicide. The idea can and must be discounted.
Mental health experts say, but he could be lying.
You right.
Is something wrong? Bro?
It has been brought to my attention that people can lie. I was
Why
listening
did
to this.
nobody tell me?
I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray, forgive the discourtesy.
What kind of fucking dog ears do you have?
The bat ears, echolocation.
What are you
Oh
talking
no,
about?
Vince McMahon!
How insensitive. You racist, I'm a bat. It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived.
Oh, here he comes!
Calling me a racist. Well, that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Wow, just because I'm a bat, assuming I'm a black bat, you don't know.
What? Hold it!
Sorry, wrong room. Leaves.
Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow.
You already did that one.
A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more.
You have no ass.
It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Who, sir, are you?
William Shamspear, my lord. Alas, 'twas I undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. What's he doing here? Can I go home?
The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand.
Sorry, I'm not caught up with the stream. You gave Shamspear Naven's voice. It's not exactly the same. It's, to be honest, it's actually closer to my Whalmer voice.
With his testimony, my learned friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed.
You can't see it, Jello, but I'm looking at you.
I'm not gonna, I know. You're calling him as a witness?
Very well, Counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself.
I'm dead. Dies.
Happy am I, Shamspear, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord.
But, I still have my own tale to tell. My own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with my tale of perfect innocence in perfect English.
That will do, Mr. Natsume. Let the court now hear from the victim.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm here too.
Wait, what?
Alright, so that's Mr. Shamspear, but who's that other man beside him?
Yes, I think I feel sure we've caught a glimpse of that man before.
State your names and occupations for the court, please, witnesses.
A writer of words so sweet they do scent the breeze, an inventor of ideas so profound they compose the earth, the unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare. Were the great bard to be recalled to life anew, lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shamspear.
I guess I'll be this guy.
Oh, the name's Meter Man. Arden B. Meter Man.
Oh my god, his chin wiggle.
Oh, I work for the Altamont Gas Company, East End branch office.
Ah, I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road.
Oh, yes, she's right, it's him. Oh, yep, I remember. There's a man. There's a man. So much
was the
posing in
man.
this game.
Yeah, there's so much posing.
It's great.
Yes. We spotted him outside Mr. Garridub's house that morning, and he's a gas company employee. What does he have to do with this case?
So, Mr. William Shamspeare, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct?
Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember that sweet poison that did cross me and cross mine innocent lips?
I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure.
Behold, you have only to rearrange the letters of my name to see that's me's a... to see that me's a seraph, an angel indeed. Thus be I noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be.
Because there Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all.
The jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid.
They're actually taking this seraph anagram idea seriously?
Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions.
But, my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamspeare doing here? The gas man, I mean.
Don't fucking call me that.
What? Me? Well, no.
Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence?
Oh, shit, sorry. No, fuck, I'm clicking the history button, my friend.
When you suggested that the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question, and moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar.
What? No, I didn't quite say that.
This young chin-stroker is here to controvert your wild claims conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Meterman?
Hang on. No, I'm just here.
I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question.
Ah, one may smile and be a villain. Yes, it doth pain me, but let the truth be spoken, the truth of that wintry night of my discontent.
I would kill for this man never to come into play. I'm just here.
Oh! The snow lay about. My neighbour did cometh in the evening, bearing a gift of tea, but merry bitter was his drink. And when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, naught else.
I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room.
Why?
Because he was stealing gas.
No one else visited the room but that short little round-backed Eastern fella. Jesus.
Wait, what did you say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspeare's room all night?
That's right, of course the bloke's window's all but blocked up, isn't it? But there's a little gap in the brick so you can see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered in through that. Right creepy like.
So, question, sir, is why?
Boring.
Well, now that's because he's on my list.
You see, he hasn't had his yearly 2 British people in his mouth, so I figured I might fulfill the quota.
I myself am actually Welsh, and therefore will consume but 2 Britons my life. What a piece of work is a man! Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment?
What are you talking about? These are hard to sight read.
This buzzing busybody hath not part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed. Make no more ado about his tedious words.
What'd you say about me?
Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question. Nothing more.
Indeed, that is so.
Nothing more. Get out of my mouth.
Christopher Robin. And as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, There was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime.
Whisper, 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 whisper.
Oh, shit.
Look at how fast I can make noises.
Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial.
Shut the fuck up.
Now, counsel, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
No, thank you. All right, you. What are you doing?
What are you up to?
But the windows of that house have all been filled in.
You're right!
A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax.
Yeah, you're right there, all bricked up horribly. But as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's been opened up. I was looking in through that gap.
If I were, like, sitting in my cold fucking room at 11 at night and I looked outside and saw this man staring at me, I would lose my goddamn mind.
I would shit on the spot.
Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there?
And for some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap lined up on the ledge outside as well.
I don't like going poking my chin in other people's business because it gets right in the fucking way, especially on freezing cold nights.
I'm the only one at the gasworks company who can slip my chin in and camouflage as a brick.
But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing, as long as there's breath in my body and chin.
It's actually pretty interesting. If I put a straw in my ears and nose and squeeze my chin, I sound like a... Oh, fuck, I forgot what the Scottish bagpipe! Fuck! Forget the joke, keep going!
What's with all the theatrics today?
Out of interest, Mr. Meterman.
Are you single?
Can I give you a little bite?
I love a man with a big chin. Big chin means powerful necks.
After the accused had left and returned to his own lodgings, did you see the victim leave that room at all?
He's got that Doug Grug mouth.
Ooh, get a boy with that Doug Grug mouth.
No, he never left. He was in that room the whole time, as far as I'm concerned.
And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide.
Why? What do you mean?
Don't.
Why would
Why
that
don't you
discount the possibility of suicide?
I don't know. The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room, and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself.
Okay, fair enough.
It's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle.
Ah, yes. Lucidly explained, counsel. Thank you.
Thank you.
It really was. You can't argue with the logic. Okay. I think that's... Well, I mean... fuck. God, I hate that. It's the entire testimony.
Sorry, it's my phone.
Making that sound actually woke up Al.
Oh!
Oh no! To be clear, by neighbor, you are referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsume. Oh, indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst that I call him the man from upstairs?
And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room?
Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo, did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea.
Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes.
And when we were broiled in such a literary debate as history hath not seen before.
By which I presume he means...
The discussion about who was the stronger, Romeo or Juliet.
I, Shamspeare, did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbour played the fair Juliet.
I thought you were going to say, the fair Juliet.
The fair Julio. Each of us blessed as would our characters be to bring weight upon our merry experiment.
I dare not imagine the scene.
Frailty, thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard of the Eastern art of jiu-jitsu, but ne'er did I dream 'twould be a skill practised by the comely maiden. Juliet beat Romeo up. This is not helping our case.
I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering literary debates.
No, keep going. I want to know more.
I do not. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room.
No, my liege, I am thy servant. Gladly I would do thy bidding.
Your chin's not nearly as biteable.
I hate the way his lips move.
Yeah, they're weird.
Let me stop you there. I hate your lips. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. Woo!
Where are you going?
If the defendant had really put the poisson into your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain. Gladly. 'Tisn't
I
easy.
was crying.
Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking. Stop, whatever this is, stop doing it. What?
BRB.
It's a curse, get down!
I did drink of the tea. Well, I did drink of the tea, not while my guests did tarry, but after he took leave of me. Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight, verily were my lips parched. That doesn't sound normal. Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou would recall our fiery debate. Amidst such argument, there'd be no time for fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again, and who was stronger?
Mr. Shamspeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker?
But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stupid lover of words did attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil. We all know what that means. Why? Hold it! So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal? Dinner, supper? Fie on luxury! Fie on gluttony! Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time. Sorry. I would that my belly were full no more oft than the sun doth rise. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, up, up.
Ooh, well, most heroic eating habits, I must say.
Night and day do I fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence...
Ooh, stop slapping your ass.
Hence
Do you think he collapsed from, like, starvation?
Probably. He did have, like, blue face illustration on him, so he might have actually been poisoned, but I don't know. He probably went to drink the tea out. He was like, oh yeah, I used the frozen tea coins, but I'm so thirsty and I don't have any more. So he drank it out of the soap, and he's so unhealthy that just conked him out, which is why he had the bubbles. Hence, is it that there doth not in my chamber be then... I can't... This is so hard to sight read. Hence is it that there doth not in my chamber be then costumes of mine art?
Hence is it that there doth not in my chamber...
Hence is it that there doth not be in my chamber...
No, there's no B.
Hence is it that there doth not in my chamber be then the costumes of mine art. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
That still doesn't make any sense to me.
It does, it's just bad.
What does it mean? I actually don't understand what he's saying.
There's nothing in his room but his costumes.
I think they're missing a word there. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's just Shakespeare.
That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room.
Fucking gross.
Now I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from the room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere.
I ate them. Yes! For I have devoured them all. I have used my annual 2 Brits, which are my meal. You've eaten them. Every word be within my skull. Didst thou imagine otherwise?
Right, that wasn't misleading at all. Now, could you turn around, do you think?
Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips.
Oh my god, did he eat poisoned ink off of his pages?
I'm here
Is that ink poisoning?
We did not press this one yet.
Hold it!
You say a short, little, round-backed Eastern fella. Surely, I don't know why I did an American accent there. So, two wrongs make a right. So you can't be sure it was the defendant, then?
Shut the hell up! Objection. How many other short, little, round-backed Nipponese with mustache?
Nay, there were naught but mustache in mine room.
Mustache.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order? Yeah, can I get a burger with mustache?
Well, of course, the only narrow gap, it was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up around 9, so I'm pretty sure myself.
And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Mr. Shamspear drink tea together?
Man, I don't know. Nah, sorry, couldn't say.
What do you mean? Why not?
'Cause I couldn't see in the room all that well, could I? But what I did see was the silhouette of that...
Fucking it up, guys.
Then the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match, I tell you. I didn't know what to make of it.
I feel like this... I don't know, I feel like in 1800s England, this would be more of a crime.
Yeah.
I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway.
Mr. Meterman.
And in this corner, from fair Verona, where we lay our scene, Juliet!
Allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question?
No question, Gasman's honor.
Hold it!
Or Saseki. What? I was there!
My lord!
Goodness me, yes, Mr. Foreman.
I have
And
to
here
pay.
comes Tibble with the steel chair! Well done, chat.
I've kept my mouth shut and listened up to now, but this has gone on long enough. Are you all with me?
Yes!
Are we to understand that you ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision?
Innocent!
Too right! Are you all with me?
Yes!
Wait, no! The defense is in the middle of a cross-examination.
Not now, bored now. To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room.
Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it.
But in the end, what difference do they make? None as far as I can see.
And since that's now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer.
I have a racism convention to get to.
Oh right, it's me now. Sorry, I'm used to this not being me. Like I said before, if I don't take 5 bob home with me tonight, the missus will blow her top.
What's that? Sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
Very well. Let the court be appraised of your decisions. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as to the defendant's capability. Culpability.
Guilty.
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 It's so extra.
All of you?
Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous.
Fresh from the chin. So, this time at least, it seems justice will be done. All's well that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilty being punished.
His psychic powers. I'm in this outfit.
Sorry, I was reading chat.
Get up, Mr. Naruhodo, please! The trial isn't over yet.
What do you mean, Miss Susato? I think I was dropped on a brick since the last case.
What about the information I found in this encyclopedia of British law I have?
Yeah, all right. We know we can overturn the defense. I know you're just doing this because it's technically a new game and technically someone can play this without having played the first one. We got it.
Which is madness, but alright.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... In America, I think it's insane that you'd play the sequel, but I guess it makes a little more sense in Japan, especially because the first 3 Ace Attorney games were, like... You can play any of the main 6 Ace Attorney games in any order. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can.
Yeah.
The defense moves to invoke its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Why am I not surprised at my learned Nipponese friend's inability to admit defeat? You choose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth.
We literally acquitted someone with this, like, 3 days ago.
Certainly. No other defense counsel in recent times has exercised the right to a summation examination.
That's insane.
Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered.
Nevertheless, the right remains and must be upheld.
So many people in chat reacting to the word Nipponese as though
I think they're new people who came in.
I know. Nippon is just what Japan calls Japan, so Nipponese is like a weird, different way of saying Japanese. It might imply that Zeeks has spent time in Japan, or, like they keep implying, knows someone from there and has a past with them.
The defense counsel's request is granted. This court will proceed with a summation examination as outlined in the Encyclopedia of British Law.
Thank you, my lord.
Are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman?
Believe me, my lord, we know all about this young lad's tenacity. And we're ready for it!
Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused.
Romeo would have won!
That's really funny.
The victim may not be well off, but he's a noble man and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man.
Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid.
No spoilers in chat, please.
Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a moustache. Very fishy.
Oh. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman. For now, at least.
Sorry, I'm so used to not reading for him.
I really don't care, like. I just need this trial to end quickly.
3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know? Nothing at all.
I knew it. Every one of them seems completely convinced. Oops, sorry.
Something It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen.
If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements.
And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all.
Well, here goes. Let's not forget, I've pleaded with the jury on Soseki-san's behalf before, and it worked. So you never know.
It might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how to summation
No.
examine the...
Thank you.
Oh, thank God. Hey, game designers, put that in more of your games.
The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two that are contradictory and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other.
Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
No.
Okay, guilty!
Yes, my lord.
All right, now dance.
Okay. For some reason, this one strikes me as the press. A fraudsman. What do you mean by that, madam?
I won't explain.
It really is a most tiresome problem for the company. Most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us without hard evidence.
Do you own the gas company?
We can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued.
I'm sorry, you've lost me a little there. Who are you?
I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company. Oh, good gracious! Altamont Bleh! You say? Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe. But proper handling is essential.
This
Yes,
game is
very
about classism.
As I'm sure our employee from the East End branch office would be the first to agree.
Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Gotta be used to properly. Altamont Gas is the best in the world, of course.
I drink it every night. Hence my chin, which I store
Hence
it
my
in.
goiter.
I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruto.
Right, he bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? So, would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamspeare was up to in his room...
I'm afraid that there's no end to the lengths of the population of the East End will go in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudsman. But to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night. We're very thorough with our investigations.
So you mean Mr. Shamspeare is...
I wouldn't come out and say it in public, but you can finish that sentence with a
She's a
bee.
bee!
Yeah, it's just like the guy.
Yeah.
He's got a bee bag.
It's a queen bee.
But you can finish that sentence with a grubby little thief or something to that ilk. You didn't read the line.
Sorry. You have noticed the public gallery in here, haven't you?
The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song.
We may not have evidence yet, but my workers won't start buzzing around until they find it. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in the ultimate gas explosion.
Fuck.
So Mr. Shamspeare has been stealing gas. I wonder, juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement.
My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
This could be it. This could shift the balance.
She mad.
Okay, that's
The victim puts on a fine performance, but in reality he is a common thief.
Probably
My
that.
company's gas.
Probably that one, but I'll check. Okay. Could be several of these. There's no reason to doubt the man.
Yeah,
That feels pretty direct. Nope.
Well, damn.
Those two statements are fundamentally at odds. I probably have to press one of them first.
Yeah, probably press him.
My lord, as foreman of the jury, I must object.
What?
Being their leader, it's my duty to stand up for all jurors here present, and stand up for them I will.
Though I concur with the foreman, counsel. I warn you, I shan't abide any pedophagery. Pedophagery?
Pedophagery.
I think, yeah.
Until you've got your facts straight, keep your pointing fingers to yourself.
I thought I did.
Ah, there's one
All
now.
right.
It's like pointing. He's pointing himself.
All right. That's my bad. I don't. It's pretty rare that you.
I wouldn't blame yourself for that.
I know these games well enough that I should have checked.
Meh.
No spoilers in chat, guys.
No spoilers in chat, please.
Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars?
I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example.
Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar.
Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was the Japanese man's tea. When you take the gas man's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer.
Well, that's alarmingly logical.
But let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same. Isn't that right?
Well, yes, perhaps, though I don't see it happening.
What's that, elderly gent on the end here? You know, you'll have to speak up.
Look, I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over.
How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? All right, sir. I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said.
Ah, point!
Oh, come on. Really?
Shrug. Try again.
Buddy, that better not be it. I'm gonna be a little upset. Wow, boo! Alright, I rescind my earlier humbleness. Fuck this. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number one!
Oh!
I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement. I love her design a lot, by the way. It doesn't come up a lot, but I love bee-themed designs made by the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas.
Well, yes.
The victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, would a straight-up person dress in... Oh, shit, never mind, he was Romeo. Shit! It, in fact, turns out to be a common thief.
So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much.
Someone in chat. My new personal headcanon is that Mr. Altamont doesn't actually exist. Miss Quinby just needs a man's name to sign all the documents because girl bosses are illegal in 1890s London. I'm fine with adopting that.
I believe that.
Also, just, even with it, like, I like the pun of Queen Bee. I love the name Quinby.
It's a good name.
It's true. We don't have evidence as such just yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know.
What?
You heard me. Seeing as his operation has already been compromised. I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there.
I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor.
Oh, and his little ascot's supposed to look like wings.
Wings, yeah.
He's a worker bee.
Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. If I could show that Mr. Shamspeare was a liar, that's like not worse, but still, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt.
Yes, I did say that. And as a man of honor, I'll hold to it, as I'm sure the other gentlemen of jury will.
Me? Oh, well, yes. Now that we've found out the man's a liar,
These fickle bitches. Perhaps we ought to consider the matter further.
Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying.
Oh my god.
So if this means you'll recap a few points, that would suit me down to the ground.
Oh no, I'm not having any part in this. I want this trial over and done with.
In that case, I shall change my leaning.
Good.
So, Mr. William Shamspear, if that is your real name, we of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are.
I hate
So
my
suck
court.
a fart.
I'm afraid you'll have to pay for that.
That's right, your husband's gas.
No, all right. Bit over.
Oh.
I closed the valve on that one.
You lose a bit, chicken.
Next bit, please.
You failed the penis game.
That's 4 jurors. 4 for not guilty.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo! Victory!
Order! Order! Well, this is quite extraordinary, I must say. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leadings has changed.
It's so insane that every defense attorney in Britain isn't using this if it still works, because, like, there's no downside to attempting it, and there's, like, no upside to not attempting it. You just lose the trial.
It's just, I'm tired. Go home. No summation. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, while as 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord, and order the trial to continue.
I did it! I won!
Oh, no. Well, you remind me of a friend long ago, a Mr. Crap Corpse.
He was my first kiss back when I was a Makuhita.
You have spoiled the bouquet, Mr. Shamspear. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find they are unable to trust you, the victim.
Oh, he does the same sort of poses as Simon Keys.
But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mend me, I do swear. This gasman speaketh that which concerns him most. Not but gas, not but thin air. Aye, it burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul.
Oi, what do you say?
Do I take it, Mr. Shamspear, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery?
Most heartily, my lord. Hast thou forgot? I am as a seraph, an angel, noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart.
Ugh, you flowery-mouthed pompous beanpole. Oh, just because I haven't got the evidence yet.
Beanpole is one of my favorite ways to describe
It's
a person.
so good.
Mr. Shamspear, if in fact you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom. Why is he mean to me?
This is my good boy badge.
It is my considered opinion that at the present time no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on this case.
Oh no.
However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further.
Objection. I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas in this case are unrelated.
Van Zeeksley cuts a huge fart and tries to move on. Forgive the discourtesy. Juror number 4.
Yes?
Help!
Didn't you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove this man has been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him?
That's right. We do. Don't we, worker?
Do you not know my name?
Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Gasman's honor.
Innocent.
Very well then. We will hear your testimony now. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, has been stealing gas.
Yes, my lord. It'll be my something.
If I may, my lord.
For the record, I did not press that forward.
Yeah.
Go ahead, madam.
Oh, fuck. That one I did fuck up.
This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisory role, if you wouldn't mind.
Hell yeah.
Woo! Oh yeah, sweet as honey. Yeah.
Ow, ow, ow! I love my boss! She's so cool!
They love their queen. Very well. As an exception, I shall honor your request.
Aw.
Thank you, my lord.
You wait till the boss gives you an earful. Oh, it's gonna sting. You mark my words.
This is cute.
It's gonna be rough.
So you will both testify before the court on the subject of the illegal consumption of the Altamont Gas Company's fuel. Yes. Is that clear, my good man?
Clear as Altamont gas, my lady. Which is the clearest in the world.
Unscrews his chin. Here's the evidence. Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Miss Susato?
They can hear you.
Oh. I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo.
By the way, look in the court record. Take a wild guess about how old Meterman is. I'm 14, I is.
I mean,
hang on.
Living on the streets is rough.
Like he's got like to me he looks like he'd be in his 40s or something. Yeah.
I'm gonna guess like 20 something, like weirdly low 20s. Yeah.
23.
23.
I mean, he's had a rough life.
It's so funny seeing the style disparity between him and like Van Zieks.
The Leighton designer came in and did a guest spot on this one.
How old is Quimby?
38.
Oh, okay.
Her portrait does not look great.
No.
Her eyes are a little skewed.
But I like her model. I think they did a good
she's
job
great.
Oh, right, it's me. I'm proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Altamont gas meters accept threepenny bits, each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas.
And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key.
There's a little bee on the end
Does
of the umbrella.
There's a bee.
Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is?
All right.
Pray forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hallowed chalice.
Can you imagine being this irreverent in court? Just like, I got bored, so I started drinking.
What do you mean by that remark, Lord Van Zieks?
Did the mustachio Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that should concern this court, and yet now we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance.
But this could turn out to be a crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead.
Ow! I've never noticed how daintily he picks that up.
It's great.
Do what you will.
Lord Van Zieks appears to be in a violent mood.
Yes, he does. An attempted poisoning, and an incident of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true that they would appear to be completely unrelated at first glance, but I wonder, The truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places, and the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is.
I'm a vampire. He gives us a bad name.
Okay. Alright, that's fine. Okay. Real quick, I'm gonna press this one. I feel like I need a coin or something as evidence.
Yeah.
So, all London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they?
They're the latest model, the height of technology, developed by our company, Ultimate Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters on their property, yes.
So, if a 3-pence coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night?
Bit more than that usually, if they have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is.
Thinking about it, Saseki-san doesn't have a fireplace in that room of his, does he? Good, because he doesn't have any ventilation.
Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating.
Ah, yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsume's room, actually.
And how does the money in the meter get back to you at the gas company?
Every 3 days, gasmen like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meters of coins.
Every 3 days, damn.
For 3 days. Well, then that would have been at the last trial, wouldn't it?
I guess.
I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter costs the company an awful lot of money. Not happily. It did put a stop to people not paying their dues, for the most part.
Ah, because they have to pay in advance, you mean?
Yes, exactly right.
Okay. Out of interest, how long has this been going on?
Weeks and weeks. He's been pinching gas off us for ages.
And you've examined the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room, I take it? Naturally. We took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb.
And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume.
God, I'm so bored.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm afraid we didn't.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter to be produced. One with an indestructible lock. The Shamspeare Special.
Imagine stealing
Damn.
like $20 from a company and them literally being so mad that they redesigned their collection method. That sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces.
But even after that, the rascal's meter was still empty.
I'll never forget the humiliation. I opened up the money box and found it bare. You what? I said, you what? And the look on his face, that smarmy smileys. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and I took it back to the office. Well, you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jimmied open anywhere. Not a single sign. God, he's gonna hurt himself.
Buddy.
And what's happening with my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day, that's what.
Oh, poor guy. A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. The gaslight to her girl boss.
Oh my god.
A tale as old as time.
Gaslight and girl boss. Incidentally, what became of that meter?
Nothing became of it, I still got it.
Oh.
Right here.
No wonder they call you Meter Man.
I think it would be prudent for the court
I love that
to
it
question this item while the trial is ongoing.
It looks like an actual gas canister.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Okay. Definitely. Although at first glance there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. I'm gonna look at it. That's a very sturdy looking padlock, isn't it?
And the money box is sealed with beeswax, too. What?
Cute. So if Mr. Sholmes were to get up to any mischief, he'd be found out immediately.
Mr. Naruhodo, mischief of that kind is not the sort of thing that Mr. Sholmes would...
You know you didn't finish that sentence, don't you?
Well, anyway, it's understandable that the gas company would want to safeguard the money that's rightfully theirs.
But it does feel a little over the top, perhaps, doesn't it? There should be like a stain at the bottom. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, baby.
Ah!
Because that's what the puddle
To
is.
get the tea out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what's...
Have you spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo?
Also, shoutouts to us for exactly figuring out this guy's gimmick, literally just from investigating his apartment. And here, there's a little hole. Do you see?
Oh, goodness, you're right. I wouldn't even have noticed.
It's not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I'd say.
So, you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspeare?
Possibly. It seems the people at Altamont Gas must have missed it.
How?
Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside.
Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through there.
That's true, but even so, it seems more than a little suspicious.
Okay.
Flippy, flippy, flippy.
That's probably all we need, but it never hurts to look around.
Yeah, take a gander. See what?
I'm wondering if there might be something to do with the wax seal too, like he might have tried to
Nah,
make
I can't
his own
touch it.
out of the
Oh,
soap.
fuck.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a tiny hole at its base. I bet he's gonna be like, there was nothing wrong with it.
Oh, sorry. Though I would say it has as much value as the contents of that meter.
Ugh.
Sorry, I was looking up what special was at Dulce's.
Ooh, what do they got?
They are closed because it's Memorial Day weekend, and good for them because they work hard and they're very nice.
Didn't have a single coin in it. That's correct. Do you say anything about it being tampered? Okay, no. Maybe if we press it, she'll be like, yeah, there was nothing wrong with it. Heads up, I've got some friends coming over for a late dinner, so we're gonna wrap up as soon as I can.
Ho ho!
No matter what, within the next 20 minutes, so.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's fine.
Out of interest, how long has this been going? Oh, we just did this one. I'm sorry.
I've been shot! Ah!
Oh no, I dropped a thing and I broke it.
Oh no, what is it?
My
little,
foot.
Little shiny rock.
Oh no.
Ah, the meter doesn't appear to be tampered with. Yes, it does.
Oh, where'd that go now?
I'm sorry, Civ.
Objection.
Objection.
Just.
Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with.
What?
Get away! I've been over that thing! Over and over it! I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it.
In that case, Di, what do you have to say about the small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box?
Oh, what?
You're right. You're quite right. There's a little hole there. The meters aren't supposed to have that. None of the others do.
In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamspeare secretly opened up this hole himself.
Yes, I wouldn't be all that surprised. But why?
Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a farthing thing through that.
Lady Altamont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design?
What sort of details?
Well, what I'd specifically like to know is how it differentiates.
Probably how it differentiates coins.
Yeah. I always use it to make fake coins.
How does the meter tell the difference between identical coins?
What do you mean?
Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1-penny coin, that wouldn't work, presumably, would it?
No, of course not.
So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a threepenny pit?
Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A threepenny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you see. Other coins just won't fit.
God, that's thick. Oh, sorry. I was imagining
diameter.
Yeah, I was imagining it from the side. I was like, what?
God damn, these coins thick!
Ah, I see. Almost like diameter. Like, guys, shut up. Ah, I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. Okay.
The witness will amend her formal testimony with the information in case as it is present. What the fuck?
It is pertinent.
Okay. Yeah, okay. As you wish, my lord.
Okay. Nothing else will fit. Okay. I'm gonna guess we can present the soap now.
I don't know.
We might be a little ahead of them.
I think we're ahead because there's nothing really indicating that the soap is significant.
Okay. But conversely then, it would seem that anything matching a 3-pence coin exactly in terms of diameter and thickness could equally well be used? Would, that be true?
Well, yes, in a way. The weight comes into it, to a certain extent as well.
We thought of that though anyway. If I find any fake coins inside the coin box when I empty the meter, the contract says the customer has to pay 100 times the amount they diddled as a fine.
Holy
damn!
Shit.
We live for moments like that, as guysmen do. Live for them.
Christ.
Wow.
It would seem the gas company has thought of everything.
Oh, hurrah for gas, hurrah for cash, Altamont all the way!
That's quite enough of that.
Remind me, how big are threepenny bits?
About 3/4 of an inch across.
Oh, they are thick.
Oh, they are thick, darling.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? This 2 centimeters measurement, is it significant? Well, perhaps there's some other aspect of the meter's construction that we should be focusing on.
Yes, you may be right. Perhaps I should try a different tack. I don't see why I would bother, but I also don't see why I wouldn't ask. How can the meter be dismantled?
Dismantled?
Yes, given there are no signs of it having been forced. I'm wondering if perhaps, rather than being broken open, it might have been taken apart.
Well, yes, that does make some sense. The padlocks are made...
switches her testimony. Okay. Let's just ignore all this then.
I appreciate that Quimby is just very open about all this information. Is just not a problem.
What? You don't like Ace Attorney investigations?
How could you tell?
Okay. Interesting. Alright. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Alright, and then chat said we have to look at the soap again now before presenting it.
Yeah.
Which made people mad. Which it would make me mad too, since you have to look at this soap 3 fucking times.
That's what I would have suggested you do. But
Oh.
okay.
I mean, we looked at the updated version earlier, so you wouldn't think it would matter, but still.
But the game, like, this game is always pretty explicit about when you found the right clue. So since it hasn't mentioned anything about what this hole is for yet, it's like you can't make the connection because the game hasn't been open with it yet.
I don't think I'd say it's always clear about when you found the right clue. I think
well,
it's
from
always...
what I've seen, okay? I've never played an Ace Attorney before, okay? This is just what I'm picking up on.
Yeah, I would say Ace Attorney is always very obvious about what happened, but what you need to present to explain that to the game is a little wonkadoodle. Okay. Okay.
Hey.
There's some sort of reddish medallion. Where could it have gone? Okay. That's dumb. That's dumb as hell. Alright. Yeah, that would have made me so mad. That's exactly the type of shit I like it when chat tells me about in advance. Especially if we've made it very clear we know what's going on. Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a threepenny bit. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, by something of a coincidence, while we were investigating Mr. Shamspear's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly.
Something the same size as a threepenny bit. What was it?
The item in question is this.
What have you been inhaling gas? It's a bar of soap!
It certainly looks nothing like a threepenny bit, I must say.
It looks like I'm gonna have to point out exactly what I mean here.
This one!
Why are you making me do this? What else would I possibly point out?
Got it.
You have to turn over the soap to see what I mean. No, because, like, if you had to update the soap for this to even be a correct objection, there's no chance the player wouldn't have already seen. I don't know. It just feels like a small waste of time.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that, like, as an editor, I'd be like, get rid of that.
Are you referring, perhaps, to the round depression in the middle of the soap there, with the correct thickness and everything?
I'm sorry. Could you please draw the exact spot where it is? I'm a little hard of seeing.
Can you point to it?
Can you feed me the soap?
That's right. A depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or, in other words, almost exactly the same size as a threepenny bit.
Get away!
I've never heard that as like a fuck off kind of equivalent. It's very funny.
Does anyone here present have in their possession a threepenny bit? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a robbery.
Highway robbery, doesn't it?
Van Zeeks comes over with a pocket full of change, like, I have dimes, I have nickels.
This is my allowance. Give it back.
Thanks to the kind member in the public gallery, I have here a threepenny bit. Now to see if it fits. Oh, my word! It couldn't be more snug!
Yes, as I suspected. This, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the I keep wanting to read it as Alamont. Altamont Gas Company is being defrauded. Is that a pun on bees? I don't recognize it. Altamont?
Well, I didn't catch it.
I didn't either. That just happened.
So, your assertion amounts to what? That some inferior bar of soap has a tentative connection to the theft of gas?
Yes! Innocent! The depression in the soap was clearly made by a threepenny bit.
I must concur, at least, that pursuing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replacing the coin's shape. Replicating, sorry. Apologies.
Altamont is a reference to a Sherlock Holmes story. Got it, thank you.
Oh.
And then you could use, well, some melted wax or something to pour into the mold. You can make fake coins in no time!
God, I wonder what he used to make the coins. This brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method Mr. Shamspeare has been using to steal the gas. That's the missing link. Now, if I follow the chain of thought, it's going to bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. I'm gay!
But this is all nonsense! If the man had been making fake coins, my worker here would have found them when he emptied the meter. Quite true, Lady Altamont. In the absence of some black magic that could make them disappear.
No, that's the other game that Sip and Jello hate. I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There is one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air. Yes.
I don't know if I want to hear Van Zeeks talk about black magic in quotes. Exactly. And the meter here gives it away.
What on earth? Sorry. My mouth was full of tea.
Oh, dies.
That's the evidence!
There are remnants of the magical method used visible on the gas meter taken from the victim's room.
If that is your assertion, counsel, the defense will identify these remnants for the court at once.
See, this is fine. This one makes more sense to me. Where could it possibly be?
Got it!
Got it!
Got
Hello! We found this bar of soap at the scene of the crime, just outside the victim's window.
Outside?
Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meterman, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found this soap.
Oh, I get it.
That's right. The answer, of course, is ice.
Did you say ice?
Mr. Shamspear has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening, filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water is completely frozen solid the next morning.
Then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them into the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts,
turning back into water and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. That is how, without leaving any evidence of his wrongdoing, this man has been stealing Altamont gas.
I mean, honestly, he's kind of earned it. That's clever.
Just like that. So simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots?
Well,
He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water.
He did, yes.
That's right, madam.
I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and some water can render it totally useless.
Well, this is really on you. You should be thanking me for telling you this, really. I'm fairly sure I didn't design it.
Evidence!
Sorry?
No, what?
I want evidence. If you're going to stand there and tell me our meters are rubbish, I want to see proof.
I mean, it's still cold. We could just wait 20 minutes and do it.
She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she?
Susano, it's okay. You don't have to look that sad.
There's a lady yelling at me. She has an umbrella.
But this rich woman isn't getting as rich.
Very well, Lady Altamont. If you'd like evidence, I'll provide it.
What?
Mr. Naruhodo, are you saying... Do you actually have evidence to support this theory?
I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time, and I have a feeling that this theory we've come up with now could explain it. It's the photo.
I mean, yeah, the photo, yeah. Oh, thank God.
This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson, and it clearly shows the remnant of the crime carried out by Mr. Shamspear.
What remnants?
Oh, a clown!
He's secretly afraid of clowns.
There's no good way to... I showed Will this bit the other night. There's no good way for me to edit this into the video due to how it's shot. But there's a really great joke where there's these two, like, juggler ladies in this bar in the XD playthrough. And if you walk up, there's a sailor in the front row who's like, "Get out of here, kid! You're not old enough to appreciate such a fine view." And Will immediately goes, "You're not old enough to see clowns!" Here you can see the gas meter on the wall in Mr. Shamspear's room. Look at this pea corner. Now, Scott Falco is now playing stream avatars. Now, look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter. Pea.
Yes.
Stop. What is that? Some kind of grubby stain?
Almost certainly, it's a water stain resulting from the liquid that drained out of the hole and made the Man, would you not put a bucket or something there? Dude, come on.
That's gonna drip down into Soseki's room or some shit.
He's on the bottom floor.
Oh, okay.
I mean, still, like, mold and shit. You don't want that there. If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage, and the occupant was heating his room in all his waking hours, we can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor.
This is awful.
And there's further evidence, too. Mr. Shamspear is slumped over his table, apparently having consumed strychnine. There's butter on the table. Ryunosuke, that's soap. And right there next to him is a bar of soap, broken in half.
You're right. Oh, sorry, that's me. It would appear to me then, Counsel, that the man was eating the soap, was he?
Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but certainly not.
He didn't beat about it, but he got him. He's done.
In truth, oops, sorry. In truth, Mr. Shamspear was found with a fork in his hand.
A meal of soap.
You mean to say he was using that fork to...
Yes. to extract a frozen coin from the bar of soap.
Oh! But the bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well.
Good gracious.
Oops.
Wow!
Lord Van Zeeks.
You act like you've never seen me do that. I was throwing my hand up in despair. And happened to catch my hallowed bottle on the way. Pray.
They're called vessels?
Pray, forgive my maladroit mistake.
Maladroit. What a word.
Maladroit, become human.
What is the meaning of this council?
Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. What exactly did you establish with your most recent cross-examination?
Well...
That Mr. William Shakespeare is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Very well. Let us assume the man is a liar. Now, allow me to pose another question. What possible difference does that make?
Well...
He lied about when he consumed the tea.
We know that suicide can be discounted. Scarlet Yard's investigation revealed no sign of another vessel that contained poison.
Vessel.
And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gasman's testimony, which we have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that.
Oh.
Furthermore, the only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever that suggests otherwise. Ow. My hand hurty. Even if William Shakespeare is the liar you claim him to be. These facts have been objectively established. There's no escaping it. Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate adjudication.
You... What? Innocent!
Wait, no, hang on. Innocent? The jury is a bunch of dumb babies.
Order! Order! Well, counsel, how does the defense respond?
He's dead.
Mr. Naruhodo!
What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all? Like... You know what? You know, it'd be very funny and mean for me to save right here.
Yeah.
And come back next week.
I think that's just
Ward.
fine.
That's fine.
Next week on Eben Ward.
All right.
All right.
Raid Scott Falco.
I heard he was streaming something.
He's streaming something. Get his ass.
Light this motherfucker up.
See you next week.
Bye.
Toodles.
All right. Bye.